Hi, everybody. My name is Scott Carson, and I am out of Austin, Texas. And I want to say thank you for everybody for having me on Podfiesta. I'm honored to be here. And I plan in the next 30 to 45 minutes to share some nuggets on what has helped me become a successful podcaster. So for the last 11 years, I've been the CEO of a company called WeCloseNotes.com. Now, I'm a real estate investor by trade, I guess you say, during the day. And I focus on a very niche within a niche. All right. Yes, I'm a real estate investor, but what I do here in the States is I buy distressed mortgages. I buy distressed debt. I'm one of 3 or 4 people in the entire United States that not only invests in this neck of the woods. There's more than 4 people invest, but that actually teach this specific niche within the niche of real estate investing. It's a small niche, and I'm one of really 4 people that have taught this. And there's a few more people coming on, but not people that have been doing it for over 10 years like I have. And so I've been marketing for quite a while using webinars and video and stuff like that. But I was really kind of hesitant to start a podcast. Now, I've been podcasting for 4 years, with my first show being the Note Closer Show podcast. It's our megawatt blowtorch that helps us really with our main business. And that's what I really want to talk about, is the riches and the niches, and why going narrow and going very focused in your niche can really help you explode your podcast if you know how to use it and how to market it. Now, I was hesitant against doing a podcast. Like I said, I've been doing webinars for years on training, and I have the Note Night in America webinar that I've been doing basically about 8 years now, almost every Monday night to my audience as a webinar in Zoom like this. We're doing it live, and then we would share it through Zoom via video, and then rebroadcast to YouTube and Facebook and some other places. But I was very hesitant to do a podcast. I thought it would take a lot of work, and for some people, it does take a lot of work. I didn't have a lot of bandwidth. Although I have a team, I'm a kind of a one-take guy. Hey, I'll record it and throw it up there. I don't care if there's a couple errors. It allows people to see that I'm a normal person. All right. So I've been doing these webinars, and then a student of mine had actually started a podcast on Note Investing. I was very proud of them, excited for it. But I really didn't want to step on their toes. And then when they informed me of the success they were having, and then a few months later, they stopped their podcast because these 2 guys went their separate ways, I knew that there was an opportunity. So we started the Note Closer Show about that time, about 4 years ago. Actually, August 20th was our first actual podcast episode. But we started before that in November of 2016 by doing Facebook Lives. And I saw how powerful video was doing. Facebook was coming out with a Facebook Live feature. I saw one of the guys from Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington, at an event in Vegas talking about such the importance of doing video and starting with the video marketing side. So I was like, okay, podcasts were starting to pop up. We weren't really, I said, well, let's do a video. Let's do a daily video. Yes, daily. We'll do a daily Facebook Live and just share with our network online and our audience kind of what we're doing in the office on a day in and out basis. What's going on at We Close Notes, or WCN as we call it. You can go to WeCloseNotes.com to see everything that we do. So we started as Facebook Live, basically just shooting with my smartphone, my iPhone, having one of my assistants hold it. The episodes would be like 8 minutes to 45 minutes long. We would do it straight to Facebook Live, download the video, and throw it up on YouTube. And we did this daily, Monday through Friday, for 149 days. Okay, basically 30 weeks, over half a year. Like I said, from November to August, before a friend of mine said, hey, you really need to convince to do a podcast. And then our friends that started a podcast had stopped. So, but why did we focus on the niche? Because look, I have there may be 20, 30, 40,000 people total in the United States that focus on this niche of real estate investing. Obviously, real estate investing is a much broader topic, not only here in the United States, but across the world. I didn't want to be just another real estate podcast. I didn't want to be that neutral, because that's vanilla. Nobody really wants to go to the store to buy vanilla. If they do, they end up buying different flavors. They add some chocolate swirl or sprinkles. So I wanted to stand out. And when I looked at what was going on, when I started reviewing podcasts and iTunes and such like that, there really weren't any other note investing podcasts. And so I was like, okay, the one, I know that they were stopping. We've got an opportunity to dive in this. So we discovered something, though, as we were doing these Facebook Lives prior to launching the podcast, and really episode 150, is that we were building a following. We would go live the same day, usually at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, my time, And over those 149 episodes on Facebook Live, when we went back and looked at the numbers, and we all know that Facebook only really has about a 24 to 48 hour life cycle for video views if you're going to do live or upload videos, we still saw a total of over 150,000 views and a ton of engagement on that Facebook Lives and those videos. And so we were onto something there. We said, okay, great. We've got an audience. We've got people that will show up on a regular basis. It would be great if we ever ended up with 1 million downloads we go to podcasts, but I'm not really interested. I don't expect that. I don't expect that at all. So we started the Note Closure Show podcast. Official podcast was just Facebook Live. August 21st was our first episode. And we would crank out 3 to 5 episodes a week. Now, I know that's a lot of work, especially for editing the stuff yourself. But I started off by hiring a podcast production company who did all the heavy lifting. We immediately went to a couple of our sponsors, our vendors that we use on a regular basis. We were already referring business to them. And the fact that we were doing roughly 20 plus episodes a week, that gave us spots to have 3 or 4 episodes each month to fit in and do sponsored episodes where the episode was just about where we'd have them on. So that immediately, we had 4 sponsors almost immediately. And so that helped us out with at least $4,000 a month coming in on sponsors. That covered our production costs, which were about $2,000, roughly 20 episodes. So we were immediately in the black, and that was a smart thing. And now our sponsors liked it because we were very specific on our niche. We were also referring business to them. They saw immediate impact when we have them on for an episode discussing a class or an event or a social or something like that. They saw immediate impact with people signing up on the links provided or showing up on their stuff, their live webinars or their events. So it was a total win-win. And I would highly encourage you to look for vendors or sponsors that can fit within your niche, that serve your audience, people that you already use. All right. Vendors that you already use, you like and trust, because that will build like and trust with your audience. So we started cranking out these episodes, 3 to 5 a week. And I know that seems like a lot, especially if this is not your main thing, but with show being directly in line with what we teach at We Close Notes, we took the approach of a marketing first mindset. Now, what does that mean? A marketing first mindset is we start the day off marketing. Okay, not waiting till the end of the day. We started off with the idea, okay, what are we going to talk about today? Who are we going to have on the show? Am I going to be on somebody else's show? That's what I'm always looking at when I start marketing first, is we are going to dedicate at least an hour, if not 2 hours, to start the day off marketing what we do. And like I said, that's either me recording an episode or live streaming an episode, or me speaking on somebody else's podcast as a guest to talk about what we do and the note investing side and things like that. And I target real estate. I do target generic real estate investing podcasts of all type, because we are a niche and it's a subject matter that most people don't know about, but they have a lot of growing interest in it with the markets being in a turmoil like they are. So that's what I mean by marketing first in my niche. I'm very particular about half my episodes are me teaching. The other half is me having a guest on who will serve my audience. I don't bring on a lot of apartment investors or generic real estate people. I bring on vendors, students of mine, other note investors that will add value, or vendors, like I said, that offer service that my audience will use. I don't want generic real estate. I get a lot of apartment syndicators wanting to be on. I only allow one apartment guy on basically a quarter. Everything else is more about me. Now, the fact that I am a niche, it makes it really desirable that my biggest sponsor is actually me. Yes, I have sponsors. I've had an attorney sponsor. I have a self-directed IRA company, a credit optimization and repair company, I guess you could say. We've had a few other, a VA company, some other sponsors along the way. But I am my biggest sponsor. And I think you really, if you're starting off as a podcaster, you really need to look as you being your number one sponsor and promotion. So we run ads about our classes. We do teach workshops. I started teaching a monthly workshop, a 1-day workshop for like $49. It's live. We record it, so the replays go out. Now, I also use that 1-day class for $4 as a teaser, as a giveaway on other podcasts I'm speaking on. And if you aren't teaching something, everybody can teach something, or maybe you can put together a class and bring 3 to 4 of your peers together, people that you would want to learn from, and put a class around them. Do it once as a replay, or maybe it's something you do on a regular basis with 4 different people. I've seen it done in a variety of ways, but always seen it done successfully because you're providing content. And if you're surrounding yourself with peers and thought leaders, you automatically become a peer leader. But they're in my niche. The niche, you will see that, something that will add value to my audience. So we give away that $49 class all the time, and I can track which podcasts I'm on because I use keywords and stuff like that. Hey, if you want to learn about what I'm talking about today, sign up for at noteweekend.com, use the code NEST or the code CASHFLOW, whatever it might be in my niche, and that helps me attract audience. I also use that on my Clubhouse profile too. Some of you guys are probably using Clubhouse. It's kind of an audio version as well too. I use that in my bio. I encourage you to go and check out my Clubhouse at it. I'm on one Scott Carson just about on everywhere besides the Note Closer Show. But anyway, going back to my niches, we're cranking out 3 to 5 episodes a week. We also took our Monday night webinars, Note Night in America, up here that we've been cranking out for 10 years, and started a podcast with that as a second podcast about, I guess it was about 6 months after we started the Note Closure Show officially. So we have 2 podcasts. Part of that is why I did 2 podcasts versus 1 podcast is I saw a really interesting discussion about owning your online real estate. And I think we all would rather, if somebody searches in Google, that you want them to see 4, 5, 6 of your things versus 1 of you and 5 of your competitors or peers, right? But when people are going to Apple or iTunes and doing a search for me or search for notes, I don't want them to see me and then see 6 of my competitors. I want them to see my show and my other shows or my other things that they can see. So that's what we did. Note Night in America was just another spinoff. That's done really well. That's only once a week, basically every Monday night. So it basically all we do is record it, again, throw it to our audience and our production company and go from there. And one of the great reasons for owning your real estate is when they search for Scott Carson now, not only do they find the Note Closer Show as one icon, but that small bit of real estate in a phone, they see the Note Closer Show podcast. They also see Note Night in America. They also see another podcast that we spin off from our annual event we do called Note Camp. And that's now a 3rd podcast. Actually, it's 4 podcasts of Note Camp because we do one every year. It's only 30 plus episodes. But that's now been a podcast. Well, so we really own their search screen besides me appearing on other people's podcasts as guests in the search criteria for notes. So I own the note space. I own that square footage. Yes, there's other podcasts that will pop about note investing or real estate that blossomed here. Some of our new students, which I'm extremely happy about. But we really own the niche. And that's one of the most important things I can tell you about. When somebody thinks note investing, they think about me. Whatever your niche or your category, you want them to think about you. And that requires you to do more than just the basics. People are like, oh, I want to have 1 million downloads. Well, to get 1 million, you got to do a lot of marketing. To get some sponsors, you've got to provide value. It ain't just about your sponsors writing you a check to cover costs. You really need to give 3 to 10 times the amount of value back to your sponsors so they find value. Several of my sponsors have been with us from the very beginning. Now we're looking at 4 years later because we add value. We also look for ways to help them fit into not only our marketing, but other people we come across, other podcasts I've guest on. I try to get my sponsors as guests on those shows, other events I'm speaking at, whether it's like Podfiesta or a real estate niche event. I try to get my sponsors to speak at or sponsor at those. It's really a harmonious back and forth with our sponsors and our guests. Now, what's been surprising is that we continue to crank out episodes, not only 3 to 5 average. When we look at it on an annual basis, we average right at 3.5 episodes per week. Okay. Sometimes we batch, sometimes we do it. Sometimes we take a little bit of time off, but we come out consistently, 3 to 5 times a week. We see somewhere between 10 and 25,000 downloads per month. And a couple of things that help with this. A lot of people don't do video. They just do the audio side. I really believe you're missing out on really 3/4 of the listeners or the audience out there that you can find. I mean, if you look at the podcasting statistics, this is based on US numbers. I don't know what they are in Australia or where else, but 26% of the US listeners listen to podcasts. Well, if you're only doing audio and only doing podcasts, you're missing out on 74% of the audience out there. Now, I don't know what your niche is. my niche is really from 25 to 55 adults, really male, female, try to split down the middle. Not all of them are listening to podcasts, only like 26, 25% of them. So I make sure and take my audio when I record via Zoom. I upload the videos to YouTube. I no longer do the live stream. We just go where we found better video, better audio by recording it with Zoom and then doing a little bit of editing to the video just with our intro and outro and our logo, and then re-releasing it the next day or 2 days later via restream and having it go live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and a few other places out there. People don't notice this. We still get a lot of engagement, but that has helped our audience, because when I started polling my audience and my students and stuff like that, I asked them, hey, how do you come across your stuff? How do you watch our videos or our podcast? And 3/4 of them watch the videos. Only 1/4 of them listen to podcasts. Now that came into very handy here, like many podcasters, with the COVID lockdown and people not going to the gyms and community as much. We did see a dip in our listenership on the podcasts, on iTunes and everything else, and our players as well. We saw a huge increase in YouTube views. So that's why it's important to really have your information anywhere that you're off listening to. I don't do a lot with Instagram. We do some images on there, but I don't upload my videos. I don't even do short little teaser videos on Instagram, because we just don't see a lot of engagement on there. So I spend the most amount of my marketing and time on the niches or the places that my audience is at. And that is YouTube, okay? LinkedIn, we'll upload videos, upload links, we'll do short blogs, articles, we'll cover that in a second. And then Facebook as well. So we restream our videos, we re-release them, and we're constantly working to nurture. Now, I'm not one of these big guys that likes to post, promote your podcast episode. That doesn't work unless you're in podcasting. When you've got a niche about podcasting, people that go the whole like for likes or share for shares, it really doesn't help you, because if they're not in your niche, liking something isn't really, it's just false. It's a facade of likes, all right? So I see people that post to 12 different podcasting groups, and we didn't see any type of impact there versus me just wasting more time and nobody really seen off it. Now, I do post episodes, articles, stuff like that to Facebook groups that fall into real estate or note investing. That helps. That's a different thing versus, share your podcast, blatant podcast advertising, podcast movies, podfest, those big groups like that. Since my niche is not about podcasting, it's about note investing. That's why I don't waste time there. So know where your audience is at, know where your avatar is at, and where they're spending your time. And you have to talk to people to find this out. I encourage you to ask your listeners to message you, to opt into something that you can give away. We've got an ebook that we give away. We do run different contests from time to time. We got some free training we give them so we can collect their email, collect their information. When I collect their information, then I reach out to them. Hey, tell me about yourself. What are you? Let's talk. We've even done some live training on episodes where I said, okay, who wants to be interviewed on our podcast for 15 minutes where we do some hot seat coaching? That does really, really well, actually. So we'll get 4 to 5 people to RSVP for a 15 to 20 minute segment. We'll get them on the phone. We'll ask them what they're working on, that kind of live hot seat stuff. And that gives you a lot of value. Plus, I have my assistant go back and see who is liking my videos, who is commenting on my videos. And if you have enough in the hamper as far as episodes or things you've posted, you will soon find who your biggest cheerleaders are. And your biggest cheerleaders are really your avatar. And you may want to name your avatar. And I know that my listener is somewhere between 35 and 65, college educated homeowner making somewhere between 75 to 250 a year in income. They're in management or sales, or have an O in their title, like CEO, CTO, CMO. They have money, but they don't always have a lot of time. All right. And it's split 50-50. So it's half women, half men. So I named my avatar, my 2 biggest cheerleaders, Laura, after Laura Blanc, who's one of our loyal listeners, and Steve, after Steve Strout, who's the male version of Laura. Laura lives in Maryland, Steve lives in California, okay? And we get a variety, obviously, of listeners. It may change some, but that's who you have to believe you're talking to. And what are the issues? If you really want to help your audience and have your audience get engaged, work on answering the issues and the problems that your avatar, or in my case, Laura and Steve, are facing today. And I always try to think, hey, what are you focused on? What do you need help with? not what I want to talk about. And that was a mistake that it took me about a year to figure out. I'm just diarrhea of the mouth, I guess you could say, just regurgitating everything I know on the channels. And I was always wondering, okay, why are some episodes doing better than others? And they're about the same amount of time. And I realized, looking back at it, you will soon see a pattern of hot buttons for your audience. Like, I could talk about a variety of topics, but I know that 3 things really do well with my audience, really listen to. One is all about how to find deals or how to find notes in note investing. That's the number one thing. It always does well. Anytime I'm talking about type of ways to find deals, people listen. Second thing is about funding and raising capital. How do you do that? It's almost as hot of a button as like how to get a sponsorship as a podcaster, right? So how to get money is the second thing. The third thing is about case studies, stories, deal, good, bad, ugly case studies. That's the number 3 thing that does well. So I always try to make sure and focus, our topic. We have a variety of topics. It's not just those 3 things, but I really do harp on those. If I could bring a guest on or talk about something about that falls in line a whole lot better. We even did a special series called the 20-Day Note Investing Challenge on 20 lessons on finding deals and 20 lessons on funding deals. Just finished this up, and we're actually including that as a bonus to our podcast listeners. If they want to listen to it, they want to get that training, all they've got to do is send me an email and we'll send them the links for that. And it's usually something we're selling for, $300. Still get plenty of signups for that, but we'll send them the replays for free for signing up for that. And that's because that's a great way for me to be able to listen to my audience or listen from my audience of what they're discussing and doing it. It's like we give away my ebook on Clubhouse. You want to run some different challenges, an ebook, a white page, an interview, a hot seat, a coaching call. There's so many different things out there you can do to get your audience engaged and reaching out to. I don't worry about 5-star ratings. We got plenty. We got a couple hundred 5-star ratings. We own the rating spot for any type of podcast in the note space. You're going to have your normal trolls. That's okay. Guess what, everybody? If you start having trolls or people that are bashing you or people saying things about it, it's because you're doing something good. So please keep that up. Keep doing what you're doing, everybody, because the fact is, people will take the time to hate on you, there's a lot of people out there, usually 10 times the amount or 15 times the amount of haters that actually love you, that they don't hate you. So keep that in mind. So we're really excited in our 3rd year. The Note Closer Show combined with Note Night in America and our Note Camp podcast surpassed the 1 million download mark. Never thought we would do it. Note Closer Show is like at 750,000 for the last 4 years. Note Night in America is over 100, and then Note Camp's over 100,000 by itself as well. But here's the biggest thing. I just keep cranking. I don't look at my stuff to go viral. We have some videos that are at 14,000 views, average a couple hundred views. And our average podcast listener episode ends up seeing about 1,500 to 2,000 downloads in the first 90 days. And that's what we track, is our 90-day growth. You'll see people that go back and binge episodes. You see a sudden spike in some things, but for the most part, it's just we're cranking out. We're expecting to have 100 to 150 in the first day of an episode, 1,000 in the first 30 to 45 days, and then kind of go from there. It all depends on the content and from there. And now, one tool that I think is so important in getting new listeners to our show is the guest appearances. I challenge myself each year, and some of this will be like blown away, but I challenge myself to be on another 100 other podcasts each year. It's 2 a week, the way I look at it. And every time I'm on somebody else's podcast, it does feed listeners, subscribers to our show. So it's probably the number one thing I look at. Now, I like to track how effective those guest spots are at. So I actually I had my production company create another podcast, which is a playlist of my guest appearances called The Best of Scott Carson. All right. And we just use the audio from the other people's podcasts. We share it into that playlist on iTunes and everything else. So I'm able to go back and see, how many downloads did this episode get? How many downloads did this get for other people's listenership? So that helps me out tremendously as well, seeing what's working, what things I said or other things I said that help the hot buttons of people that are listeners. Because I've had people reach out to me who've heard me on other people's podcasts. They binge my show, binge my YouTube channel, and they are willing to sign up for a workshop with me, anywhere from $49 all the way up for my one-on-one coaching at 15 grand a pop from listening to my show or listening on my podcast. So podcast is a great way. Look, here's the biggest thing. You have to realize it's a way for you to touch base with your audience. I know many people are doing podcasts as a hobby. Look, if you end up trying to do it all yourself and you find yourself spending 80% of your time editing or doing something you dislike, you're going to have pod fade very quickly. I did not want to edit my shows. I am not that detailed. I like getting on, talking with people, teaching, and then offsetting the editing or the production to somebody else. And I'm very blessed. I've got an amazing podcast production company that I work with. If you'd like their intro, what they do, which is part of our success, every time I upload an audio episode to their platform, they transcribe the whole episode for me. I mean, word for word, turn into a blog. They log into my WordPress website. They upload it to my page. They create images or infographics of each episode. They send that to me. They upload that. They upload that to Dropbox, and my assistant can then email that out or post it to social media. If I have a guest, they'll take a quote and the headshot of that guest and turn that into its own quote and image, and they'll send that quote, the episode artwork, and all the links for the episode. They'll send that out directly to my guests so that they can share it. So I don't even have to send that out. All I've got to do is collect on the front end, enter their portal, and they'll do all that for me for basically $99 an episode. So it's well worth the time and because it takes me over now. My average episode is about 45 minutes. And when I heard people were spending an hour, 2 hours, 3 to 4 hours editing one episode, I was like, I don't have time to do that. I can't spend half my day on an episode. And kudos to you, but my time is better spent somewhere else. I'd rather spend $99 an episode so I can go out and record more episodes or reach out to people and teach and help sponsor that stuff. Now, what's nice with my podcast production team too is they have dynamic ad insertion, so I can plug and play ads without them being baked in. So if I'm running a special promotion or teaching a class, or when my vendors has a special promotion, we'll plug and play ads into my past episodes. So if somebody's listening to past episodes, they'll hear a new ad, not something from 6 months or 2 years ago. And that adds value with my sponsors. So if you'd like to get more information about that, just feel free. Book a time in my schedule, talkwithscottcarson.com. That's talkwithscottcarson.com. You can find me anywhere on most of the social medias at @Scott Carson. That's the one, the number, not spelled out. I'm here to help, ladies and gentlemen. I've had some really great mentors along the way, people, amazing podcasters who have helped me out. Look, if you're not using video, start using video. It helps. It will double your audience base. And really, that's what we're all about. We're in the media space. It's not just about audio. It's about video too and other social media. You have to share everywhere your audience is at because they're not all just listening. And many podcasters got very frustrated because their numbers dropped dramatically. They weren't using video. And I'm talking just a stagnant image. I'm talking video like this, you and me, where people can see you, they like and trust you, they build rapport that way. And when people are watching you, whether it's across the hallway or across the continent, it builds a lot of rapport. Having anybody see your facial expressions and be able to put a name with a face in a lot of cases. I think we've all listened to podcasts where we heard the voice, and when we saw the face, it didn't match up. And it builds trust a lot faster. You have the video side of things and you can connect with people. So look, I encourage you, get to cranking. If you're brand new, you don't have a lot of downloads, you're just not sharing enough, or you may want to increase your episodes, and that'll almost double your downloads really fast. I'm not a fan of the short podcast, and no offense to anybody has one. 5 to 15 minutes is great. Don't get in paranoia where you're comparing your show to something like that. John Lee Doss with the Entrepreneurs on Fire, he's got the 15-minute episodes. Yeah, somebody can listen to EO on Fire and listen to 4 episodes compared to my 1 episode an hour long, but they're going to get more value from my 1 hour. So be competitive. Talk to other people in your industry that are doing something similar and see how their numbers worked out. But just keep cranking it. Keep giving value. That's what you have to realize successful podcasters are doing. They're giving value and not expecting any type of feedback, not expecting any type of give back. Well, it comes if you keep recording it. Your success will come. Be your biggest sponsor. Be your biggest affiliate. I mean, if you're looking to try to make some money, hey, talking with people that have affiliate opportunities, affiliate sponsorships. Where I'll give an example. Last night on Note Night in America, we had a buddy of mine who's offering a class. It's a $199 class for 2 days. We allowed him to talk about that. We had like 6 or 7 signups. I get half of that. So I made $600, $700 during an hour or an hour and a half. And hey, that'll pay for a few episodes. That'll pay for 7 episodes of podcast production for me. So look at affiliates. I have also a lot of affiliate sponsors and softwares or things I can use, like Restream.io. They have an affiliate split. Repurpose.io is a great tool to take your Facebook Live videos and set them up where they automatically upload to YouTube and a few other things with some nice images and stuff like that. They've got an affiliate sponsorship. LiveLeap, if you have multiple Facebook groups that you control, you can upload a video to your Facebook page, and LiveLeap will recognize that and share it to other groups that you run. So those things save a ton of hours. And then just pay attention. There's a lot of great conferences, Podfiesta, you've got some great speakers on here. Podfest, Podcast Movement, that have online versions of large Facebook groups or provide video training on there. A lot of things are great, but just look at the people in your niche, and then go look at their websites. Go look at what they're doing. How often are they releasing videos? How often are they releasing episodes? What are they doing well? What are they not doing well? And that's the number one thing that we do, is we do more than anybody else in our niche, and we do it on a budget. Systems, automatic. We do spend a little bit of money, but it is very affordable when you start looking at our niche. And the real estate niche, most people will pay more versus like a hobby or comics. That might be one thing to think about too, is what are your buying habits of your listeners, of your avatar? If they're used to buying real estate, $30, $50, $100, $200,000 properties, they'll gladly pay for a membership for $97 a month, or pay for a class that's $500. If you're basically dealing with somebody who's buying T-shirts or $20 to $30, their buying habits are $20 to $30. So they have a much more limited budget on sponsorships or things like that too, that they can roll. So keep that in mind. Start a private Facebook group for your listenership. Ask some questions there. Ask your audience to comment. Let them know where you're at. I don't really ask people to leave a 5-star review or go and subscribe. People automatically do that. If they like your show, they'll go ahead and do that themselves. Yeah, I will do it every 4th or 5th episode. We'll make sure you hit the subscribe button. But the biggest thing I can tell you is just start sharing your show where your audience is. Don't just do audio. It's very easy to record with video these days than it used to be. It's not a lot of work. Don't let the old dogs of podcasting tell you, if you do video, it's not a podcast. Yes, it is. We're all in the media business. We're all in the show business, that you say, and you might as well get your message out to where everybody is at and share it via video. It's where everybody's going. Audio is great, all right, but you got to really leverage both mediums and social media to get the word out here we're doing. So I encourage you once again, everybody. Hey, congrats for being here at Podfiesta. Thank you for having me so much. Once again, if you'd like to schedule a free call, glad to talk podcasting with you. You can go to talkwithscottcarson.com. That's talkwithscottcarson.com and schedule 30 minutes directly in my calendar. And I'd love to talk with you. So go out, take some action, everybody. And we'll look forward to seeing you top of the charts. Bye.